Just then you hear the front door open and your sister's voice echoed through the house. "We are home." You exchanged a quick glance with Jungkook, excitement bubbling in your chest. "Showtime," you whispered. Your sister and brother-in-law walked into the dining room, their eyes widening in surprise as they took in the sight of the beautifully set table and the delicious spread of food. "Wow, what is this?" Your sister gasped, her eyes wide with delight. "Did you guys do all this?" "Surprise, we thought you guys deserved a nice dinner after all your hard work." Your brother-in-law laughed, clapping Jungkook on the back. "You two really outdid yourself. This looks amazing." Your sister's eyes sparkled with gratitude as she pulled you into a tight hug. "Thank you, Ryan. This is so sweet." You smiled, feeling a rush of warmth as the four of you sat down together. The evening was perfect, filled with laughter, good food, and the comforting sense of family. The days following had been filled with warmth and laughter, and you had found yourself growing more comfortable in the house. Spending time with your sister and brother-in-law had been a blessing, but what surprised you most was how naturally you and Jungkook had started to bond. Small moments like watching TV together, talking about your favorite shows, or laughing over silly things seemed to flow effortlessly. It was hard not to notice how easy it was to be around him, and despite your best efforts, your feelings for him were only growing stronger with each passing day. It became a routine. Your sister and her husband would leave for work, and you and Jungkook would be left to your own devices. You didn't always spend the day together, but you would often cross paths in the kitchen or the living room, sharing brief but meaningful conversations. One afternoon, your sister and brother-in-law had gone off to the office as usual. You had been in your room planning to work on some task when you heard voices coming from downstairs. At first, you didn't think much of it. Jungkook might have been on the phone, or maybe one of his friends had dropped by for a quick visit. But something about the tone of the conversation made you curious, so you quietly walked out of your room and towards the stairs. As you descended, you froze at the sight before you. In the living room, Jungkook was standing close to a girl you didn't recognize. She was laughing, her hand lightly resting on his arm as she said something that made him smile in response. Jungkook's hand brushed hers as they laughed, and the way he looked at her with that soft smile you had come to know shattered something inside you. You couldn't hear what they were saying, but the sight was enough to make your chest tighten painfully. It felt like a cruel twist seeing him like that with another girl after the connection you thought you had been building with him. You turned away, swallowing the lump in your throat as you hurried back to your room. Your tears were flowing. You sat on your bed, burying your face in your hands, feeling the ache in your chest grow stronger with every thought that ran through your mind. You had let yourself believe, even if just a little, that maybe Jungkook felt something for you too, but seeing him with that girl, seeing how easily he could be close with someone else, made you realize how foolish you had been. Wiping your tears, you made a decision that you would stop caring, you would stop letting your emotions get the best of you. From that moment on, you decided to avoid Jungkook, distance yourself from him, and protect your heart before it got shattered any further. The next few days were difficult. You did everything you could to avoid being around Jungkook. If he was in the living room, you stayed in your room. If he was in the kitchen, you would make an excuse to leave. You even stopped participating in the casual conversations you used to enjoy so much. Whenever he tried to talk to you, you kept your answers short and cold, avoiding eye contact as much as possible. At first, Jungkook didn't seem to notice your sudden change in behavior, but as the days passed, it became clear that he could sense something was off. He would glance at you more often, his brow frowning in confusion whenever you brushed him off or left a room abruptly. It wasn't easy, considering you were staying under the same roof, but you managed. His attempts to talk to you became more frequent, each time met with your distance. One afternoon, after another uncomfortable breakfast, where you avoided his gaze the entire time, you decided you couldn't stay in the house any longer. Being around Jungkook was too painful, and no matter how much you tried to act like everything was fine, the ache in your chest only grew stronger each day. You found your sister in the living room reading through some documents. You took a deep breath, trying to steady yourself as you walked over to her. "Mia, can I talk to you for a minute?" She looked up from her papers and smiled. "Of course, Ryan. What's on your mind?" You sat down on the couch next to her, fiddling with your hands as you searched for the right words. "I have been thinking. I think it's time for me to go back home." "Go back home? Why? You have only been here for a few weeks, and Mom and Dad are still abroad. What's going on?" I don't feel comfortable here anymore." "Not comfortable?" Her frown deepened as she set her documents aside. "What do you mean, Ryan? We love having you here. Did something happen? Why are you feeling uncomfortable here?" Before you could answer, you heard footsteps approaching. Jungkook had walked into the living room, his gaze fixed on you. You forced yourself to ignore him and said, "I just think it's better if I go. It's nothing personal. I just need some space." Your sister opened her mouth to respond, but Jungkook spoke up before she could. "Is it something because of me? Because it feels like you have been avoiding me, ignoring me. I don't get it, Ryan. What changed?" You started, but the words got stuck in your throat. Your sister glanced between you and Jungkook. "Ryan, if something's wrong, you need to tell us. You have been acting different lately, and we are worried about you." You looked down and said, I don't want to talk about it. You muttered, standing up from the couch, ready to leave the room. But before you could take a step, your sister stood up and blocked your way, crossing her arms with a firm expression. You are not going anywhere, Ryan. You are staying here until mom and dad come back, and that's final. I don't want to make this a bigger deal than it is. I just need some time away. Time away from what? From me? Because it sure feels like you're trying to get away from me, Ryan. Your sister sighed and glanced over at Jungkook before turning her attention back to you. Ryan, if something's wrong, you need to tell us. We are all family here. We are worried, and honestly, I don't understand why you want to leave so suddenly. Tears pricked the corners of your eyes, but you blinked them away, refusing to let them fall in front of everyone. It's nothing you guys need to worry about. I will be fine. I need some space. Ryan, if it's something I did, just tell me. I don't want things to be weird between us. You have been shutting me out, and I don't know why. I can't talk about it. Ryan, whatever it is, you don't have to go through it alone. I don't know what's going on, but you are staying here. We are not letting you leave like this. You swallowed hard, feeling trapped. Instead of saying anything, you nodded weakly, letting your sister's words sink in. One night, it was calm, a gentle breeze flowing through the balcony where you stood, staring out at the stars that seemed too far away to reach. You hadn't expected to hear footsteps behind you. You hadn't expected to feel that familiar presence standing close, but there he was. Jungkook, his figure casting a soft shadow as he stood next to you, leaning against the balcony railing. Ryan, can we talk? You didn't respond immediately, keeping your gaze on the sky, but he wasn't going to leave until you answered him. And even though part of you wanted to avoid this conversation, another part of you knew that you couldn't keep running forever. After a moment, you sighed, lowering your eyes to the ground. What is there to talk about, Jungkook? You know exactly what. You have been avoiding me, and I can't take it anymore. I don't understand what happened, Ryan. You are shutting me out like I have done something wrong. If I did, please tell me. You swallowed, still avoiding his gaze. It's not something you need to worry about. That's not fair. You say that, but it's impossible for me not to worry. I care about you, Ryan. Seeing you act like this, like I'm some stranger all of a sudden, it hurts. I need to know what's going on. I saw you. You finally whispered, the words slipping out before you could stop them. Jungkook frowned in confusion. Saw me? What do you mean? The day you were with that girl in the living room, I saw the way you were with her, so close, so comfortable. I thought she meant something to you. Jungkook's eyes widened in surprise. Wait, you mean Ria? Jungkook let out a soft laugh, shaking his head. Ryan, that's what this all is about. You are upset because you saw me with Ria? I saw how close you were, how happy you looked with her. It hurts. Ryan, Ria is my cousin. She came back from abroad that day and wanted to meet me and my brother. But since he was at the office, it was just me and her catching up. Your cousin? Yeah, my cousin. She came by to say hi to me and my brother, that's all. I wanted to introduce her to you too, but when I checked, you were asleep and I didn't want to wake you. You stared at him at all this time. You had been torturing yourself with jealousy and insecurity, and for what? His cousin? You couldn't believe how quickly you had jumped to conclusions. I'm sorry. I didn't know. I thought. You trailed off, not knowing how to explain the irrational thoughts that had been swirling in your mind. Jungkook stepped closer, his gaze never leaving yours. Ryan, you don't have to apologize. I should have been clearer. I didn't realize that seeing us together would make you feel this way. Ryan, I don't know how else to say this, but I care about you more than I probably should. Your heart skipped a bit, your breath catching in your throat as his words registered. I have been trying to figure out how to tell you. Jungkook continued, his thumb gently brushing over your knuckles. But every time I try, I get nervous. I was scared that maybe you didn't feel the same way, but seeing you upset like this, it made me realize something. I can't keep hiding it. You stared at him, your heart pounding in your chest at his words. Could it be true? Had he really been feeling the same way all along as I feel? I love you, Ryan, more than I have liked anyone in a long time. These past few weeks spending time with you, it's been the best part of my life. And when you started avoiding me, I didn't know what I did wrong, but now that I know, I'm glad it because you care too. Tears welled up in your eyes. I'm sorry, Jungkook. I was so scared that you didn't feel the same way. I let my jealousy and insecurity get the best of me. But the truth is, I love you too. I have liked you for a long ago. His smile widened, his hand squeezing yours gently. You don't have to apologize, Ryan. I get it. But now that we have finally said it, I don't want to lose this. I don't want to lose you. You shook your head, feeling the weight lift from your chest as you smiled through the tears. You're not going to lose me. I'm glad we are finally talking about this because I have been waiting to do something for a long time. Before you could ask what he meant, Jungkook leaned in, closing the distance between you as his lips met yours in a gentle, tender kiss. Just then you heard bedroom open, your heart skipped a bit and you quickly pulled away from Jungkook, trying to gather yourself. Jungkook smiled softly at you, as if silently telling you not to worry. A few seconds later, your sister's voice echoed up. Wyan, Jungkook, are you guys there? You exchanged a quick glance with Jungkook, who simply shrugged before calling back. Yeah, we are on the balcony. Your sister and her husband appeared in. They glanced at you and then Jungkook. Your sister, ever the observant one, raised an eyebrow. Is there something we should know about? You opened your mouth to speak, unsure of how to explain what had just transpired, but your sister cut in before you could even form a coherent sentence. We have been watching these for a while. You two have been tiptoeing around each other since the moment YN came to stay with us. Honestly, it's been about time you talked things out. Your eyes widened in surprise and you could feel your cheeks flush. You know? Your brother-in-law laughed, stepping forward and clapping Jungkook on the shoulder. Of course we knew. It's been obvious for weeks now. The way you two look at each other, the tension in the room, we were just waiting for you both to figure it out. Wyan, we love you and we want to see you happy. When I noticed how you were around Jungkook, I realized something had changed. Same here, Jungkook is not the best at hiding his feelings, especially when it comes to you. You couldn't help but smile at their openness, feeling the tension that had been building inside you finally melt away. You really don't mind? Your sister shook her head with a gentle smile. Of course not. We want you both to be happy. And we have already seen how much you care about each other. If this is what makes you happy, then we are happy too. Honestly, we have been waiting for this. We have been rooting for you two for weeks. So no, we don't mind at all. In fact, we are glad this is finally happening. Your sister walked over and hugged you tightly. I love you, Wyan. We are here for you both. You hugged her back, feeling overwhelmed with emotion. Thank you for everything. John looked at Jungkook and said, You better take good care of her, man, or else you will have me to deal with. Jungkook laughed, raising his hands in mock surrender. I promise I will take care of her. We know you will. That's why we are happy to see you two together. You deserve it.